Thank you for joining us. My name is Robert Chadwick, one of the co-founders of Global Mortgage Group. Welcome to our webinar. We try to do these on a regular basis to inform clients of what's happening in the market and the particular loan programs that may be developing or new. So if you're not familiar with Global Mortgage Group, we are focused purely on foreign nationals and expats. We don't offer any programs for borrowers that are living within the U.S. Everybody is living abroad. We have clients from the Middle East to Europe to Asia. And for that reason, all of the lenders and all of the financial institutions that we work with are very specific for this. So issues of not having U.S. credit, foreign earned income, et cetera, is not an issue with us. Over the past few years, we've really developed these programs to be very effective and reliable ways of financing. We will be introducing a very specific entity called America Mortgages, starting within a month. If you're on our newsletter, you've probably seen the little sneak preview of that. If you're not on our newsletter, please sign up below and you'll receive monthly updates. America Mortgages is going to be only focused on providing financing for the U.S. So today we will cover just the general programs that are available currently, the market conditions, which are definitely improving, whether you're a foreign national or U.S. citizen. And then we'll touch on today's topic, which is Dscr, or debt service coverage ratio. It's a really simple, easy way to qualify, especially if you're maybe an entrepreneur or you're behind on your tax filings. So just to give you an idea of where we're at market-wise, rates for U.S. citizens are at an all-time low. Obviously these adjust on a daily basis, but if you're purchasing a property as a second home, you're going to be below 3%. If you're purchasing a property as an investment, you're going to be slightly above 3%. And this is both for purchases and for rate and term refinancing, meaning that we're just trying to lower the rate and not pulling any cash out. If you want to pull cash out, definitely possible, but the rate is slightly higher, but not much more. So these programs for U.S. citizens can get up to 80% financing. And unlike most of the local banks or the online lenders, we don't have issues with your foreign earned income. Matter of fact, we also have a lot of U.S. citizens that were either just born in the U.S. and never actually lived there, or have been abroad for many years and just no longer have credit history. So we have programs to cover everybody. For foreign nationals, rates are definitely improving and loan programs are improving, such as the Dscr, which we will cover. 70% loan to value, no U.S. credit required, various ways to verify income. So it makes it a quite easy process. And this is both for purchase and refinance. So I'll cover today's topic, debt service coverage ratio, DSCR. Basically, it measures the property's ability to service the debt, not yours. So we're not going to ask you for any of your personal income. The loan is going to be based on how the property can service the debt. Basically, it's the net operating income minus the debt. So just to give you an example, if you have a property that has an income of $125,000 a year, and it has debt, which the mortgage is $100,000 a year, you have a ratio of 1.25. In short, it means that the property is generating 125% of the mortgage payment. Therefore, when the lenders look at whether or not the loan can be serviced, it's making not only the mortgage payments, but it's making an additional 25%. Now that allows the borrower to qualify just purely on the rental income, meaning that on the application, we're going to list your job, whether you're self-employed or employed, but we're not going to list any income on the application, nor are we going to ask you for any income documentation. Now, just like any of our loans, it still requires you on a purchase to verify where your funds are originating from. And this is more for AML. So we want to see that your funds to be used in the transaction, whether it's the down payment, closing costs, etc., it needs to be somewhere in the world in some bank for at least 60 days. If it was from a sale of a property or refinance of a property or something along that line, that's fine as well. We just need to show a clear trail where the money came from. So as long as you're able to meet that, and then the other requirements for the loan, which is credit somewhere in the world, it does not have to be in the US, but it needs to be a credit history. So if you have credit in Europe, Asia, Middle East, that credit document can be submitted in lieu of having US credit. And with that, it allows you to get up to 70% financing. Our normal loan program, which it allows you as well to get 70% financing, and the pricing is better, doesn't require you to submit tax returns. Basically, it's going to ask if you're employed, it's going to be from your accountant, and it's going to list your last 3 years' income. If you're self-employed, then it's going to be from your employer. It's a very simple letter, and when we speak to you about the loan programs, you actually receive a follow-up email, and the email has a template which either your accountant or your employer should follow. Other than that, that is the explanation for what debt service coverage ratio is, Dscr. So I'll open it up to questions, and we will start here from, have you had any issue verifying funds coming from China? We have not. Now, obviously, China has issues about moving certain amount of funds out of China. There are restrictions. So we do need to see where the funds originated from. A Chinese bank is fine. Anything that is not in English does need to be translated by a verified translating service, but the funds coming from China aren't an issue. Another question, what are some of the credit history examples from other countries based on? So most countries do have some sort of credit reporting agency. There are countries that do not, and we understand that. And for that reason, we are able to take alternative credit history. As an example, even though your country may not report a credit history to a bureau like Equifax, you can use a letter of reference from your bank showing that you have a credit card with it. You can use anything that you're servicing on a monthly basis, anything from insurance to car payments, etc. So we have templates for all of these. So if you are in a country that doesn't have credit profiles or credit reports, you still can certainly qualify. It's a little bit more work, but it's definitely possible. Another question, what about new build properties that have no rental income history? That's perfectly fine. If you're talking about qualifying for the Dscr program, which we just quoted, we will, when we order the appraisal, we will ask for a rental review. Basically, it's just going to be a comparison of how much rent you can get from that property, and that's what will be used for your debt service coverage. Focus on UK, Canada, Australia, and Hong Kong. We can definitely. So we can provide loan programs for the UK, for Canada, for Australia, for Hong Kong, and for Singapore. For Singapore, one of our strong focuses is short-term bridge lending. So if somebody is looking to access cash quickly, we have programs that don't take TDSR into account and can get you up to 70% financing in as little as a week sometimes. Another question, if I have a low credit score in Europe, what would be the chances of mortgage success application? Yeah, I would have to see what your credit looks like. Obviously, if there's a lot of collection accounts, it would be looked at in a negative way. But I think probably the easiest way would be to send your credit report to us, and I'm happy to take a look at it and give you what is the minimum DSCR ratio that is required? That's a really good question. Most lenders are going to want to see 1.25. We do have lenders that'll do 1.1. So it really just depends on the rate, the program, the borrower, the state, etc. So, but if your DSCR ratio is 1.25, you're solid. What is the calculation for rent to borrow ratio? How much can I borrow based on the rental income of the property? That, that's going to be based more on the loan to value. So the DSCR can be adjusted to where the loan to value is. Obviously, the 70% is the maximum, but it is possible to qualify at a lower LTV to get the debt service coverage to work. What are the average rates for foreign nationals on a 10-year mortgage? So right now, post-COVID, we're only offering 30-year fixes. The rates really depend on the state. If, example, we have some absolutely fantastic programs in California where foreign national rates are 3%. The LTV is reduced to 60, and there's a minimum loan amount of $1 million, but rate-wise, you can't beat it. For pretty much the rest of the states, you're looking at rates in the 5s. Now, if you kind of take things into perspective of where they were post-COVID, or pre-COVID, I'm sorry. For a US citizen pre-COVID, if you were borrowing to buy an investment property, your rate was anywhere between 4.875 and 5.25. This was right before COVID. When COVID happened, there was basically a lot of knee-jerk reaction of trying to save the real estate market, and the rates for US citizens dropped to an all-time low. But anything that's outside that bank box is pretty much where it was before. There are obviously loan-to-value restrictions, but rate-wise, it's very similar to what US citizens were looking at before COVID. So they're still all-time low. Hello, may I have a credit report in the UK and bank account deposit in Singapore? Yeah, absolutely. It's, we understand as this is the only type of that we deal with, foreign nationals and expats, that you may be a UK citizen working and living in Singapore. So you'll have things from different countries. And we are very, very flexible with that. You can have a credit report from the UK and you have income earned from Singapore. We bought a property in the US while working in the US. We have credit history. Can we refinance? Absolutely. The one thing that you have to take into consideration, though, we see this quite often, there's a lot of people when they were living and working in the US, but they're not US passport holders, but at the time they had green cards. You're no longer a green card holder. So you would fall under what the foreign national programs are, but certainly it's available, whether it's possibly to just lower the rate, depending on when you got your loan, or it is, to be able to pull out equity. Now, if you want to pull out equity or lower the rate, maximum loan to value for a foreign national is 70%. So somebody is asking about getting the documents notarized if it's been resolved. So some countries, embassies are still closed. Obviously COVID is affecting the world. In the countries that are less restricted or the lockdowns are limited, we haven't had any issues with the embassy allowing signings. This is from the UK to Hong Kong to Singapore. Because we do quite a bit of volume, we've been able to get a very good relationship with the embassies. Now, we can't guarantee that we're going to be able to get an embassy signing, but in most countries, we haven't had any issues. I would like to know why rates I received for pre-approval in New York State was about 5%. It really just depends on how you qualify and the loan amount. So just to kind of put things into perspective, the minimum loan amount that we offer is 100,000 US, but anything under 150,000 is going to have a premium added to the rate. So if your loan amount was below $150,000, that could be the reason why your rate is over 6%. If you qualified, I'm sorry, over 5%. If you qualified using Dscr, we're not asking for any income documentation. There's obviously a layer of risk, and the rates are a little bit higher as well. Let's see. Okay, sorry, there's a lot of questions. Are there minimum and maximum loan amounts? As I just stated, the minimum loan amount is 100,000 US. At 70% loan to value, the minimum purchase price, or if it's a refinance, the minimum appraised value has to be at least 145,000 in order to qualify for that $100,000. Now, again, keep in mind, lenders in general don't like small loans. So anything under $150,000 is going to be priced at a premium. Not a massive increase, but it still is an increase. Same question. Are there U.S. states or cities that houses and apartments are not accepted as collateral? We're state agnostic. So any state qualifies for every program that we have. However, some states, if you take a look at Florida, for example, a lot of apartments are occupied mainly by investors. Now, if that's the case, we can surely do it. But if there's more investors than there are actually owners, so more non-owner occupied than owner occupied, there could be a slight add to the rate again. Next question. Could I take a portfolio type loan to buy several properties at once if it meets the minimum loan amount, i.e. 50,000 each? Yes and no. We offer some fantastic portfolio programs, but there's a minimum door of 5, meaning there has to be at least 5 properties, or if it's a duplex. So what we say a minimum door is a door. There has to be a minimum door of 5. Now, there also has to be a minimum value of that portfolio of $1 million. If the property portfolio is worth and it has at least five properties, whether they're condos or apartments or single family, then you can qualify for a portfolio. You mentioned embassies still working on stuff. Could you please elaborate? I believe you're just asking if you can get embassy signings. So there's different ways to sign the mortgage documents depending on which country you're in. So we allow, or the lenders that we work with, or most of them, allow apostille. So if your country so if you take Hong Kong, for example, Hong Kong allows apostille signatures or apostille notary. So you can have an account, or an attorney or a notary in Hong Kong notarize your U.S. documents for mortgages. It's sent to the High Court and then sent to escrow title. So if it comes to where you need to go to an embassy, we will try to arrange the embassy appointment for you if there's nothing available to book online. There are also, depending on the state and the lender and also the title or escrow company, there's remote notary. So basically what we're doing now on video, and you're signing the documents. Now that isn't allowed in every state, and it really just depends on between the lender and the escrow as well. What are the fees involved? So we charge very market rate programs for foreign nationals of 2%, or depending on the loan size. That is very standard in the U.S. The other costs that will be incurred will be escrow, title, appraisal, etc. Now, what makes us very unique is we don't have a application fee. We will accept your application. We will go through the entire process. We will get your loan approved and review that approval with you to make sure you're comfortable with the conditions that are required and the rates without any fee. The only fee that you're going to pay out of pocket before your loan closes is the valuation or the appraisal report. And depending on what state you're in or the value of the property, it's probably as little as $500, up to $600-700. Our fee that we charge is not paid directly to us. Everything is paid either through title or escrow. So it's very, very transparent. Once you apply for the loan, you receive a full disclosure breaking down all the closing costs. I think, hold on. I work for a private bank. Can you give us a private presentation to our bankers and some clients? Absolutely. We actually do this quite often. This is because we offer such a unique service. We're definitely we're used as a service provider for banks that or financial advisors or anybody that has clients that would have exposure in the U.S. for real estate. Do you work with family offices? We have a commercial building that we are trying to refinance. Is this possible from Asia? Absolutely. What's exciting about this is we just brought on a former banker from the U.S. that all his major focus was commercial lending. So he has over 10 years experience with one of the major banks. He just moved to one of our offices in Asia and certainly can assist. So. I think that is all the questions, unless anybody else oh, hold on. Due to COVID restrictions for citizens in the UK going to the US, do I have to wait? Yeah, this is what makes us so unique. You can open your application in the UK and close your loan without ever visiting the US. It's the ability to buy properties online, if you have access to a portal where you can search for real estate, you trust the real estate agent in the U.S., you can do the entire transaction without having to go to the U.S. Aside from being a debt lender, do you provide any services for raising equity for real estate funds in the U.S.? Unfortunately, we don't. We are just strictly debt financing mortgages. That's it. Another question. If I only have foreign income verification for the coming year, can I still apply for a conventional loan? If you're a U.S. citizen, certainly, absolutely. So if you only are having, if you're only earning your income abroad, that's where we shine. Your income from foreign countries are looked at exactly like your income from U.S. So absolutely. I think that is all the questions. Thank you very much for your time. We will try to do these more regularly. If anybody has any questions, whether it is financing a property in the US, Canada, Australia, UK, France, feel free to drop us a message. You can either do it through WhatsApp or through email. Thank you again, everybody. Stay safe, and we look forward to working with you. Take care. Bye-bye.